Becoming a successful professional speaker is a journey. How do you find that first stage, the next stage, and then the bigger and better stages? I'm Lee Hayes, your host. My co-hosts and I are here to guide you to a more successful speaking career. You're listening to Path to the Main Stage podcast. Welcome to another podcast, Path to the Main Stage. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all those people who've been sending lovely emails and lovely things on LinkedIn. I love hearing that you're listening to Path to the Main Stage and getting something out of it. My favorite thing, I know I've said this before, is when people write to me and they say, Lee, when I listen to your podcast, I take notes. Because that's what this is really all about. While I do have lovely guests who tell fun stories, they also share tidbits that will help you on your career. They're going to help you move forward. So feel free to take notes and feel free to keep telling me. I love to hear it. And also, if you have any questions, please feel free to send those, because if you know of a great guest or you have a hard question or just something you wanted me to go in deeper on, let me know. Maybe we'll do that next season. So today's guest is going to give you an inside view on how clients work with bureaus and how they select speakers, and also little tricks on what you can do to be more in demand. Brittanny Kreutzer has over 18 years, I checked it out, Brittanny, helping corporate events that they can help educate and elevate and entertain their audiences. She has worked with speakers, trainers, entertainers. She is currently a partner at the Speaker Exchange Agency, and she's also a board member for the IASB, which is the International Association of Speaker Bureaus, which is something we've not talked about before. So I think that'll be an interesting thing to touch on as well. So welcome, Brittanny, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So maybe I'd love to start with that, because that's something we haven't touched on at all. Is this the International Association for Speaker Bureaus? Can you tell us a little bit, like, what is that association? What is their purpose, and what common thread do they create that influence bureaus?
Sure. Well, I mean, the first thing I should start with is that we're actually changing our name this year to GSIA. It's more inclusive name, so not just bureaus, but there's management companies that are definitely a part of our association. There's people that help, speakers elevate and grow. And so we did change. It'll come out this year, but we did change the name to just be more inclusive. And you're going to ask me probably what it stands for, and I will tell you at some point. It's not rolling off my tongue. But
that is fine. But I'm just going to say, not knowing even what it stands for, I appreciate the change, because a couple times people have told me, oh, Lee, you should join with your management company. I said, but I'm not a bureau. And they go, oh, that's okay. But hearing like that's okay if you join is a little different than somebody saying, this is for you.
Exactly. And we want a Global Speaking Industry Association. I knew it'd come to me.
There it is.
But yes, we want to elevate speakers in all ways. And it's not just bureaus anymore. It's like you said, it's managers, it's people that are out there helping with marketing. And I think the goal of everyone in our association is to raise up speakers and work together as a team in this industry. We always say, there's so much business to be had. And as, event managers and bureaus, we don't even get a huge piece of the pie. So there's just so much business out there. And if we can work better together, then, we can do a better job in our industry of showing event planners and those young planners, like, why it's so great to work with people like us. So what other questions can I answer about the association or anything you want to know?
So I have talked with bureaus in the past, and I remember the one thing, and maybe you can clarify this for me, is I was looking for a speaker. So I have the people behind my shoulder who I manage, but occasionally a good client will call me and say, oh, Lee, can't you get whoever? And they'll throw some like celebrity name out there. So I have bureau partners who I'll work with and say, look, I don't work with this person, but I know you do. But I know one time pricing question came up, and what I was told was, if you're part of the association, you're supposed to stick to a certain pricing standard. Like, you're not supposed to undercut other bureaus. How does pricing work with bureaus from a speaker standpoint? And is that actually influenced by the association? Do they recommend that?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, our goal is always that price is the same no matter where you go, whether you go to the speaker or you go to a bureau. It's if a speaker has their fee, I mean, you're going to quote that fee. If you end up negotiating, I mean, that's obviously something you work out individually with the speaker on a case by case basis. But yeah, coming in and just undercutting is not something that, we like to do. And I definitely believe that our industry and our association has standards. And so when you work with a company that's part of our association, you're going to hopefully see that there are different standards and there's good ethical practices in this industry.
And are there any other practices that are recommended by the International Association? Meaning, what do you do training or education or things, and what sort of training do you offer for bureaus that
Yeah,
would
we're
impact
actually,
speakers?
yeah, we're starting like a learning management platform so that we can actually, educate ourselves and grow as bureaus and managers and things like that. So yeah, I mean, we're always trying to elevate and learn. And I mean, just think of all the talent we have out there that helps us, right? So I always say we should be some of the smartest people in the room because we're surrounded by some amazing minds. So yeah, we're always trying to grow and things like that. And there are some dirty practices out there that you might run into. And I always say there's always bad apples in this industry. So,
Right.
do your research, find people you trust, ask around. And if you have one bad experience, don't let that experience, infect how you work with other bureaus. Just ask more questions and try and find those good partners because they really truly are out there. And the majority of, bureaus and agents are good. So you just got to sometimes, ask those questions and do a little bit of research.
Okay. And now, speakers can try to help themselves stand out with bureaus, or maybe I'm not asking this question properly. Are there showcases that bureaus do? Do you know of any bureaus who do that? And is that worthwhile for speakers? I don't know if the association does showcases or just bureaus do showcases, but is that something you recommend? Like if a bureau comes to a speaker and says, "Would you like to showcase?" Is that a recommended practice?
Yeah, I have a two-part answer to that. So the first section is our association has at our conference a talks. We call it was IASB talks, so GSIA talks, where you can come in and you obviously have to apply and get selected, but a 20-minute showcase in front of our association, which is I know hundreds of people apply. I know we're trying to find other ways to expand that because I think nothing is better than seeing a speaker in person. I will have clients where I send marketing materials of a speaker to, they say no year after year. They see the speaker in person somewhere and they call me and they're like, I want this person. You're like, I've been trying for 3 years, So there are some bureaus that still do showcases. I think they're always worth it. I think, when clients get to come and see you live, it's just a different feel than when you're watching through a screen. I always say in person, I mean, just think of COVID. Like, there is nothing better than trading energy, is what I call it with people live. And that's just different to do when you're just watching someone on film. So there are showcases. I would recommend them. I think even agents. So for me, I'm actually going to a showcase in April in Chicago. I'm going to preview 8 speakers. Some of them I've actually seen before, but there's some I haven't. And for me, that just helps me do my job better. It's going to help me make better recommendations and really understand a speaker and get to kind of have some one-on-one time with them. So yeah, I think they're fantastic.
And do you find, is it a practice that bureau agents, besides just showcases, do they ever go and listen to speakers in person to get an in-person feel for them?
Yeah. So we've actually had some speakers who have said, hey, I really want an opportunity to work with you. I'm going to be here. I will fly you out and pay for all of your expenses if you'll come see me. I've done that for people before if it works out. Obviously, we're very busy and have families and stuff. So, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. If you're in town and you call up a bureau that you have a relationship with, you're like, hey, I'm going to be in Chicago. I know you all are there. Would anyone like to come see me? A speaker just did that actually before I got on this call. He'll be here in Kansas City on Monday, and one of our agents is going to go out and see him speak. So that's always a reason to reach out, is that in person. And I've actually had people come into town and be like, can I have a client come with me? So, even if they say no, that's, you're becoming top of mind, you're reaching out for a reason, a purpose. And people seem to don't, if they can't go, they can't go, but it's a nice reason to reach out and and let them know you're going to be there. So.
All right. What are some qualities that you look for in a speaker for your clients? Now, obviously, your client wants, an AI speaker who's worked with the government or whatever. They might have those kind of requirements topic-wise. But what is something that when you are seeking a speaker, what are some aspects about them that you look for or that stand out to you?
Yep, I'm always looking for those credentials. So if I'm scrolling through different profiles, whether somewhere you've worked, so it's a Google, an IBM, a T-Mobile, so like a big company name possibly. I'm looking for, the other day someone sent out a guy that worked, he was CEO of Kind Bar. I was like, Kind Bar, that's relatable, right? Netflix, people are looking for a company they've heard of, a podcast that maybe they've heard of. So anytime you can have that credibility, or say you're like, I would never have any of those things. How many people have you trained? What outcomes have you had that you can highlight up front? And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for problem solvers. You solve problems as a speaker. So highlighting what you've done to solve people's problems in a very tangible way, right? So it's not like, oh, I've helped. It's like, no, give us the stats. I've helped this many people. I've turned around this many companies. I've worked in this industry. So really giving those tangibles that people can relate to and be like, they might be good for my company. So it's that relatability and those like bigger type names that people can like aha moment of they got some credibility.
All right. And when you land on websites, obviously when you're looking for a speaker, you often go to their websites, right? What are some things that stand out about a website that when you land, you say, this site's going to help me? What helps you as a bureau agent?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's many things. Like I said, first, I'm always kind of looking like what problem do they solve? Credibility wise, you're looking at some of the testimonials or their logos they have on their site of people they've spoken to. And the biggest thing is video. I mean, if I go to a site and I cannot find a video for the life of me, I move on. You've got to have that video front and center where I can immediately click and see you on stage. We're moving really fast. I don't want to search your site forever to try and find that. I'm trying to quickly find something of like, is this person credible on stage? Now, I will also tell you, I'm looking for, you're going to have your pretty demo, but I'm also looking for longer clips. I think there's been a lot of speakers lately that have gotten away with creating these shiny 2-minute demos. I was like, you could make I can make a demo. It looks like I can speak, and I can tell you I cannot speak very well on stages. I'm not that great, but I can make a demo that makes me look like I am. And so I think I've had a lot of clients that are a little gun shy if they don't have a longer demo these days because they've had speakers weasel their way in and they get on stage and you're like, I saw the preview and everything in that preview, that was it. That's all they had. And so it's really important that you've got the chops and that you can show that on your website. And then I just think, again, content. I mean, takeaways, like those bullet points of what am I going to learn? And so not a lot, people love the big marketing, like fun headlines, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to figure out what you talk about in the fastest, shortest, easiest way possible. What do you do? So that's kind of what we're looking for.
So interesting that you mentioned the sizzle reels and everything. I received one today via email, and I think the whole thing was AI generated. It was a very very slick, but I'm going, this is odd.
Yeah.
So I think that somehow they AI generate. I believe it was the person speaking, but the backgrounds looked fake, the cuts were fake, the voiceover. It was very odd, and that was such a turnoff to me. So
100%. We had one where I was like, I think the audience is fake. Like, I think the guy was real, but like the audience didn't move the whole time. And so I think people are on high alert. I mean, really don't do it. We're looking for genuine of you on the stage. People can still tell, and I guarantee like if you send that, no one will ever look at you again. So you've got to just genuinely do the video, do it. And if you do anything AI, just own it. Be like, hey, this part was AI, but I just wanted to get this piece. Just be honest.
Now I know you align client objectives with tailored speaker solutions, right? That's what you have mentioned in your LinkedIn. But speakers often go after any opportunity. How can a speaker better tell if they're aligned with a client or an event? Because some speakers just go, I go after anybody, like anything.
Right.
How do you align them?
Sure. Well, I think it's really finding out, and I know that's not always easy, or asking the questions of what are their goals? What problems are they trying to solve? And not everyone is the answer to every problem. And I think sometimes when speakers say yes to everything, some of the biggest speakers I respect the most are ones that I've called them and like, hey, this isn't actually my cup of tea. I actually am going to say no. And I actually have a recommendation to my speaker friend who would be a better fit for that. There's nothing more trusting than when you have a speaker that will tell you this isn't the right fit. So I think going in and just trying to understand, like, what are they trying to do? Asking questions, doing a little bit of research. Who have they had before? What's the audience makeup? I always tell people, you might have a topic that my client's looking for, but what a bureau really gets good at is we understand the audience. So some audiences don't like interaction. Some do. Some are really love a cheesy speaker. Some love facts. Like some just love research. And so I think you have to remember just because an RFP or a topic says leadership and you speak about leadership, it doesn't mean that that's actually going to be a fit for you. And you can't get your feelings hurt if you don't get selected or get to the next level because there's so many more factors that impact a meeting planner's decision. It also can be that they need a woman, they need someone of color of skin, like diversity, all the things as they're building out a whole program, and they know their audience best. So there's several things that sometimes you just don't know about on the back end of that.
So what are some of your pet peeves with speakers? I always like to know this because sometimes there are things that speakers do that they don't even realize drive bureaus crazy. What about when you work with a speaker, what is something that you just go, I wish they wouldn't?
Yeah, I mean, my first thing is just when a speaker's like, why haven't you booked me? I mean, that it's just, you're just like, so I think sometimes you just don't understand our process. So lots of times speakers will call me like, you've put me up for this many events, we've closed none, like what's going on? And I think a lot of the time, one, yes, maybe we should look at your marketing. Like, how are you in our system? Maybe we should adjust that. But two, it's one of those processes where like I am not told why a client chooses someone, why they don't. And so a lot of speakers will be like, well, why wasn't I selected? Why wasn't I selected? I don't know. And I'm not going to take the time to ask my client and be like, let's go through the 5 speakers I sent you and tell me why you didn't like this person so I can give them feedback. Unfortunately, no one has time for that. And so I really can't give feedback. So I get a lot of like wanting that feedback and we just don't get it.
Interesting you say that because I've heard that as well. And what I finally have started telling speakers is it doesn't matter because if your client says, I didn't like them because it might have nothing to do with the next client, right? We didn't take you because we needed a female speaker. We had all men. We needed a female. You're male. It's not like you're going to go, oh, let me gender change for my next.
Right. Yeah.
So sometimes feedback from one doesn't matter to the other. And now sometimes I know because being a manager, I get a lot more feedback. If there's a trend of feedback, I will bring that to a speaker. But if they say, oh, we didn't like this, some little aspect, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because
in your video and 10 people are like turned off because you're cussing, like that to me, that's a trend, right? Like you're hurting yourself more than helping yourself. But like you said, I think at the end of the day, speakers are so worried about what's selling. And my advice to you is be yourself and be authentic. And if you have something interesting to say and something different, people will find you. The right people will find you. So always be authentic. I think, yes, marketing is so important and it's highlighting what makes you special and unique and different, but don't change who you are. Because once you do that, I will tell you, bureaus can see through it and so can clients.
So who are some of your favorite speakers? Now you can either give names or you can just suggest like what type of speaker they are, but give me an example of 2 of speakers who you feel are highly successful and great to work with for some reason. Like I think positive stories can be very helpful for others to maybe emulate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's hard. It's like naming your favorite children because there's so many great ones. Well, first I always say, if you're good, you will be found. And, there's been many times where I won't know of a speaker, but I'll have a client tell me about him and I'll hear about him again. And then I reach out to that speaker, right? Like your name will always get around. I think the best speakers are the ones that really see us as a partner and want to grow together. And they don't see like, oh, a bureau is working and I'm giving them a commission and I'm losing money. It's like the bigger picture and having fun while doing it, knowing that we're changing lives together. I mean, there's so much, we're so lucky what we do, that we get to go out and change lives. And the speakers that are still grateful after all these years. You know, you go through and it's like speakers on the road, they're road warriors, and it's really hard. I know it's like a hard life, but also like what a great opportunity that we have. And so just getting to work with those speakers that haven't lost that gratefulness, are always giving us new information, not reinventing themselves, but maybe like spicing up a topic, providing us the best marketing, and giving us tools to sell them. But at the end of the day, just really being great at your craft and being authentically who you are. Don't lose that. I will say that again because I think that's really important.
So speakers, you said, should periodically update, if you do have them listed, new material.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that would be, like reels or clips. What else can they do to help themselves in your eyes? What are some other things that you find useful?
Sure. If you have a topic and then you kind of have the topic 2.0 and gives me a reason to go back to past clients and be like, hey, I know you had Joe 3 years ago, but he has now a follow-up topic that would be great for you guys. That always gives me a reason to follow up. Also, I will go on my little tangent about headshots. Always update your headshots. It's one of my big pet peeves when maybe as a man, you've gone bald and you have, it looks great, but you have hair in the photo. No one can find you. Or if you're a lady and you get your hair cut, you got to update your photo then. I can't look for you with long hair and now you have short hair. Like, clients are really looking for that familiarity of like, I've looked at your picture 20 times, show up what your picture looks like. And we actually have a portal where you can go in as a speaker and update your stuff because we've had so many
nice.
people updating, which is great. I mean, we want the most current information. So just making sure that you're out there and that everyone has all your updated stuff. But yeah, I just think keeping things fresh, not adding AI into your topic if you don't talk about AI. I mean, again, keeping the topics in your wheelhouse. So that's most important.
Now, do you get more requests for celebrities or for topics?
More for topics. We do get the celebrity request, and sometimes I'll ask, why do they need the celebrity? And there's obviously different levels of celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have those A-lister, people that are in movies and sports, and, we booked all those high-end people. They typically don't do a keynote, and it's typically more of a moderated conversation. And you're usually using them because you need to bring in attendance. Then there's, I think, that celebrity, like that again has like a tie to an amazing company and has actually done something, and they really can still speak to what they've done. But it's more, like I said, the Kind Bar or a shark from Shark Tank or something like that. So there's just those different levels. I think we get less. I think the celebrity after COVID has kind of not been as prominent as like they want the takeaway. So less companies need that, but we still get the request.
Mm-hmm. And because you were talking about different levels of celebrity, something I have found is, people will contact me. And again, most of my speakers are not what I would call celebrities. A couple are. But I often ask, you're looking for a celebrity. What does that mean? Because you were mentioning athletes. You could probably rattle off 10 athletes and I'd go, never heard of them.
I know. It's
and
all
right. And conversely, I could sit with my husband and go, oh my gosh, they're the star of the show. And he'll go, never heard of it.
Isn't that crazy? And it matters, it matters to the decision maker. So if the decision maker knows who that celebrity is, right?
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And I'll be like, your audience isn't going to like that person. There's a disconnect. And it's amazing sometimes like how that top person wants somebody and it might not be the best person for their audience. You see it a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's who they want.
That's who they want.
That's who they want.
Now, so celebrity, right, actually means to be known, right? To be known by others. Does it help speakers to build their own celebrity within a particular niche? So should they make an effort to become known in a certain area, or should they just try to be very broad? Like, what would you recommend?
I mean, if it was me, I would become really well known for one thing. I mean, I would become the expert in one thing. So say I was innovation. Anytime someone thought about innovation, they think of me, right? You just become that expert. So I know you can talk to a lot of different things, but really honing that craft and being the go-to. Will Guidara became what? everyone's go-to for customer experience.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yes,
just
he
did,
had.
right? He just wrote the book, and now that became the top person last year, probably, and one of the top people in the speaking circuit. He
Yeah.
owned that space.
Yeah, and you're right. And it was one book that just crushed it.
One book.
It just
Yep.
crushed it. So,
Yep. Exactly.
so now I know you tried to build great experience for your clients. What are some things speakers can do to help you do that, to help elevate the experience for the client or at the event?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that speakers have done from the beginning. Like we'll have speakers create a video before they're even selected, talking to the client, whatever info I pass them about maybe why they'd be good for this client, what things they might do to help elevate the event. Some things I've seen are that research, right? They'll get on the phone with 3 or 4 different people from the company. They'll have the verbiage, the intel. They'll get on that stage. I had a speaker the other day, and she like stalked social media for like half the audience. She was putting stuff in her slides from people in the audience, that like delight and
Yeah.
surprise of like all of a sudden Tracy, she's talking about Tracy who's sitting right in front of her, and Tracy had no idea she was going to be part of the speech. Creating those moments of, and that's back to probably like a thing of Will Guidera, creating those unexpected magical moments in your speeches where your meeting planner. So first off, if you're going to do things like that, I would definitely tell your planner to make sure she's not surprised. You want the audience to be surprised. You never
Mhm.
want your planner to be surprised, or your bureau. So get those things approved. But when the audience sees the unexpected, it's not just another speech, but it's an experience. That's what takes it to the next level. And then, of course, following up after, being on site, being engaged, staying longer, not coming in and out and rushing in and out, things like that. And at the end of the day, thinking of the planner, like if you don't book your flights till right before and the planner's already on site, there's going to be a disconnect of timing. So trying to really understand a planner's, hey, when are you going to be on site? When do you need my information by? How do I like most not inconvenience you? Um, we are partners, but you are working for them. So what works for them is what I always tell people. Ask those questions.
And a question, of course, I always get from speakers, and I know you get this every day, is when does a speaker need an agent and how do they get on an agency roster?
Well, I guess it depends on when you say agent. Like, do
A
you?
bureau agent, a bureau, like
Oh, a bureau. Okay.
a recognized bureau.
Yeah. I always say bureaus are the sprinkles on your cupcake. So once you've built your cupcake and it's frosted and it's going real great, and you're like, I've got this, I'm solid, I'm ready to like, to the point in my career where I don't have to have you, but I'd love to have you. And so, bureaus are not going to solve all your problems and get you a million bookings. They might, but that can't be the expectation. I think what the expectation is, if you want that, you need to get like a salesperson in your office. But I think it's just really when you've got out there and you have calls coming in and spin happening and you're just out there and busy. Like I said, at that point, a bureau might call you. But I just think when you're really in the groove of you have your demo, you can't work with a bureau without a bunch of demo options. People come to us all the time and they're like, well, I'm speaking a lot, but you're speaking a lot because people see you and then they book you. We don't have that ability. We're sending you out just marketing, just video, and we're trying to sell you off that. So we can't sell you off a video, then we can't sell you. So you got to have all your materials ready to go, and you gotta have the street cred. So once you have that, I think, you'll feel it too. I think a lot of and it happens different for everybody. Just because Kevin over here did it in 6 months doesn't mean you're going to do it in 6 months. You have your own path, head down, stay the course, and just know it's going to happen if you work hard and you just do authentically what you're supposed to do. It will happen, but it's different for everyone.
Do you have any great success stories, like speakers that you've seen that were greener when they came in, and then you were able to elevate them to big stages?
Yeah, I actually had one. He reached out last year. It was one of those. It caught my attention. He had gone from poverty to the NFL to Stanford, and
Wow.
then he owned some businesses. And it was just an email, and I was like, wow, that's quite a story. So we did a call, and I was like, he has a ton of potential. He was willing to work hard. He had some video of him on a bigger stage that he had done on his own already, but he wanted to expand. And so we just kind of took a chance and started working with him. And he'll be speaking at MDRT for us this summer to 7,000 people. So it's one of those where, he did the work. He said yes to things. I always say, like, well, my fee is this and this fee is so little. And it's like, say yes. Just say yes, because you don't know what that will lead to as you're getting started, to someone in the audience who sees you, who maybe knows the owner of this, who knows the owner of that. And so I think in the beginning, when you're getting started, there's so much opportunity to say no is a shame. Really try and say yes as much as you can. So yeah, we've had a success story like that. It was very cool to see him grow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I love how you said say yes, because my preaching is stages beget stages.
Mm-hmm.
What stages should they say no to? Because you said both, you're right, you respect speakers who don't take the stage is not a fit, but it's very good to take a lot. What is that balance? What should speakers look for other than fee?
Yeah.
And when should they say, no, that's not right for me?
When you're saying, when so if you're like, that is not even my audience, but maybe Brittany said yes, so I'm going to say yes. Your gut, your materials, if something won't land, I think, based on what you've done. So it's kind of like, again, if you're like, I'm saying no, not because of fee, only because I don't think I would be the best option, but I think this guy over here would. And be like, if it's this topic or this topic, then call me for that. But just knowing who you are and like really learning where things land. If you're like, I'm a woman and I do great in front of male audiences, great. But if you don't, and you've done it a couple times, you're like, it's just not landing, know that about yourself. And sometimes you're going to mess up and you're going to say yes to something and it's going to be the wrong choice. And as we all know, this business is about trial and error. It's about learning. It's about growing. So we are going to make mistakes. So just keep learning from those mistakes.
And am I missing anything? Is there some other piece of advice that you've been going, Lee, you should really ask me this because speakers need to know?
Gosh, we've covered so much ground.
We've covered so much.
Yes. I just go back to that being authentic piece. Like, why did you get into the business? Why did you want to start speaking? And what was your original message? I've seen so many speakers, like, they're just grinding out on like the marketing and the topic and just trying to make it fit where they think everyone wants it. And just don't create a topic for everyone. Create a topic that you're really good at and that you're an expert in and that you love delivering. And I truly believe if you do that, you will be found and you will be great. It's when you're trying too hard to be something you're not. And the comparison game is really tough in this industry of, why are they getting so many more gigs than me and I'm not? Why? Everyone has their own path, and stay on your path. Don't play the comparison game. Don't, like, they're getting $5,000 more and I know I'm a better speaker. Don't do that. The demand will be there. The demand will tell you where your fee should be based on how much you want to work. And if you're not at that, adjust your fee. A lot of speakers are very concerned about fee and how that makes them worthy and how good they are. And to me, it's not. It's demand. It's, what does your life want to look like? Do you want to be on the road 50 times a year? I have one speaker, he is 10,000 and he finally just pushed himself to 12.5, and he should probably be 17.5, but he loves to be on the road. Mm-hmm. And we sell him all the time and he's happy. So, really just think about it in terms of your lifestyle, not your value. I think too many speakers worry about that.
Well, I hope everybody else just got a sigh of relief. As you said that, I sort of had this feeling of, like, I'm okay. I'm not even a speaker, but it's like, go with your gut, go with what you love. If you love what you do, right, you'll do well at it. So I love that. All right. So thank you so much for coming on today. I'm going to wrap with the question I always ask people, which is, if you today, like Brittanny today, was able to go back in time and talk to Brittanny of over a decade ago when you got getting into this business, what one piece of advice would you give her, or what is one thing you learned that you wish you knew then?
It's so surprising to me how many friends I've made in this business with the speakers that I book. And it was so unexpected. When I started before, it's very transactional. And as I've grown in the industry and gotten out there to meet speakers and see them more than just, what they do, but who they are, it's been such a blessing in my life to get to have friends in this business, to have such great relationships. And I didn't realize how much it would fulfill me as much as it has. So I just feel really grateful to get to do what I do, and I'm still here doing it. And so it's such an honor to be in this business, and we all have to remember that. So.
And it was an honor for me to have you on today. So thank you so much. I was listening going, boy, speakers are they're taking notes right now, which is always my joy for this. So thank you so much. And to everybody out there, please check out the website, Path to the Main Stage Podcast. Please like and follow, share with your friends. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and we'll see you next time on Path to the Main Stage Podcast. Thanks for listening to Path to the Main Stage. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And for full video episodes, check out YouTube. If you want to be a successful speaker, you need to make it happen. My co-hosts and I are here to help guide you. But if you need more help, please check out pathtothemainstage.com, where we can connect. And until next time, keep sharing your voice, keep showing up, and keep taking your path to the main stage.